aspect, but when you can really be intentional about wanting to manifest certain things into your life, a lot of times it comes because you're tired. You're tired of not having the things that you want. You're tired of not being able to live the lifestyle that you deserve. You're tired of just whatever it is that you've been experiencing in life, you're ready for different. And so you may be at that point where you're like, you know what? It's time. It's time for my life to change. It's 2024, right? It's time for me to have the things that I want. And so by you even saying that, you're setting the intention. Hello. I am Brittney Clement, Law of Attraction and Manifestation Coach. And today I'm going to be talking to you about how to stay consistent when manifesting. That's actually one thing that I hear often, right? And a lot of people have trouble staying consistent when trying to manifest because first off, it may take longer than expected, right? And then the second thing is because life happens, right? Like we have our normal everyday lives. And when you are trying to manifest the things that you want into your life, sometimes, something may happen in life that just knocks you off course. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today, because when it comes down to manifesting, consistency is very, very important. Now, it's not so much about how much you're doing. It's about the repeated process of what you're doing, right? Because a lot of times when you're manifesting, first off, you're trying to get something that you've never had before, right? And so in order to get something that you've never had, sometimes you got to do something that you've never done. I'm going to say that again. In order to get something that you've never had, you may have to do something that you have never done. And so when you are trying to implement new things into your life, sometimes it doesn't quite flow the way that you want it to, or it just doesn't quite go the way that you want it to, right? So today I'm talking about how to stay consistent when manifesting. That's the key word, consistent. Being able to do it over and over repeatedly. How do you keep doing that? So the first thing I want to tell you is to be intentional, okay? You want to be intentional about what you're doing. And when I say be intentional, sometimes you got to really just sit and have a talk with yourself. Like I've done this where I'm like, okay, Brittney, this is what we're doing today, okay? And I have to just really lay it out for myself. This is what we're doing this week. These are the intentions that I am setting. When you can kind of get real with yourself a little bit and set those intentions that this is what you're going to do, this is how you're going to do it. Sometimes you got to give yourself that little pep talk so that way you can be focused on getting it done. I did a training last week about procrastination, right? We know that we'll probably procrastinate if we don't already have things set in stone. And so as you're being intentional, one thing that really helps with being intentional is by writing it down. Now, that works very well for me. Just when I get up in the morning, I'm going to write down exactly what I said I'm going to do that day. That helps me set the intention for my day. And I also may do it the night before as well, so I know what to expect. But when you really just kind of talk to yourself in that way, you know that you are setting the intention and you're kind of holding yourself accountable to a certain aspect. But when you can really be intentional about wanting to manifest certain things into your life, a lot of times it comes because you're tired. You're tired of not having the things that you want. You're tired of not being able to live the lifestyle that you deserve. You're tired of just whatever it is that you've been experiencing in life, you're ready for different. And so you may be at that point where you're like, you know what? It's time. It's time for my life to change. It's 2024, right? It's time for me to have the things that I want. And so by you even saying that, you're setting the intention. Okay. So you want to be intentional. And of course, a part of being intentional is just really knowing what you want, right? You got to know what you want, because how you going to manifest it if you don't know? And so that's a whole nother subject for another day. But first, be intentional. Now, another way that you can be consistent when it comes down to manifesting is having a daily routine. when you have a daily routine, it just makes life simpler. And this is regardless if you're trying to manifest something or not. Just life alone is so much simpler by having a daily routine, just being consistent in the things that you do, your habits as well, right? Which is why I offer a 21-day prosperity challenge class, because it helps you to make manifesting a habit, right? And so you want to have a daily routine, because if you already have a daily routine for your life just as it is by itself, then you can go ahead and add in whatever you're trying to do to manifest. And I teach so many different manifestation techniques to my students. And so whatever technique or attraction method that you're trying to do in order to manifest, incorporate it into your daily routine. Sometimes you might not need to have a routine just for manifesting, right? You might need to go ahead and put something together. And so when it comes down to having a daily routine, it could be something that you do first thing in the morning, right? Something that you do before bed at night, right? Something that you do at a specific time, okay? When having a daily routine, I suggest setting an alarm, right? Because we got to hold ourselves accountable. A lot of times if we just say we're going to do something at a certain time, that time will come and we may forget, right? But if you set an alarm as a reminder, that's a big thing to help you as well. Another thing when it comes down to having a routine is, remember I said it's not so much about how much. So you don't have to spend a whole lot of time working on a specific manifestation technique or trying to do something new. It doesn't require a whole lot of time. It's just about you doing it, that repeated action. So if you're doing it over and over every single day, eventually you're going to see results. As long as you don't give up, right? And as long as you keep believing, because that's the biggest part of manifestation. You got to believe. If you are doing this every single day and then you're like, oh, I'm doing this every day, I'm not seeing any changes, it's not working. Okay, now you need to work on your faith, because that's a whole nother subject for another day as well, right? So you want to make sure you incorporate it into your daily routine or craft a routine specifically just for manifesting within itself, right? You can have routines within routines, okay? As adults, it's good to have a routine. Now, that's something I had to learn. Even as being, a full-time entrepreneur, I set my own schedule, I have my own time, and so I can just get up and kind of do whatever I want to do. But no, you still got to have a routine or ain't nothing gonna get done, okay? So have a daily routine. Now, when it comes down to be consistent when manifesting, you got to prioritize. You need to prioritize your time for manifesting, because so many things can happen, right? We got the kids that's stopping us from being able to focus on what we need to focus on, right? They come in with everything, right? We just got life, period. And so you have to make sure you prioritize, which is a part of having a routine, because you can literally schedule it into your life and you say, no, this is what I'm going to do at this specific time, and I'm going to make sure that it happens. You literally have to prioritize whatever techniques you're trying to do during a specific time frame, so that way you make sure it gets done. You got to be intentional about it. You got to make sure that you commit to yourself in this way, okay? Now, I will say, as life happens, sometimes you need to adjust. Sometimes you have to make changes, right? Because your schedule may not be the exact same every day. And so that's the work that you're going to have to do, right? I can't tell you how to do that part. That's the work that you're going to have to put together so you can see, okay, well, this is what I can do on this day. This is what I can do during that time. But you really need to just pull out pen and paper. If you are serious, if you're intentional about manifesting what you want in 2024, you got to sit down with yourself and you got to get this done, okay? See, this is the part where, that tough love comes in as a coach from me, okay? So I'm going to help you get there, but there's some things you're going to have to do yourself. So pull out that pen and paper, write out your schedule for the week. Right? Whenever you can have time to practice the different manifestation techniques, know which one you're going to be working on. Start small and build from there. Like I said, you don't have to do a whole lot. You just need to get started and you need to be consistent. Okay. And then accountability. That's the last thing. I talked about holding yourself accountable, but sometimes we need a little outside accountability. And so, like I said, setting that alarm on your phone, that helps you. That's your reminder. But sometimes you may need another person to hold you accountable. So it's good that if you know someone else that's trying to manifest some things, like for example, in my courses, my students, they pick accountability partners, which I call them prosperity partners. But it's good to have someone else who's on the same path as you, shooting for the same goals that you're shooting for. And not necessarily the same goals, because you can have your own different goals, but you guys are, trying to do the same type of things to live your dreams, to get where you want to be. So just having that accountability, outside accountability, is good, because sometimes it's hard to hold yourself accountable. But yeah, those are the things that you want to do to stay consistent when manifesting. Be intentional, have a daily routine, prioritize, adjust during changes in your life, and hold yourself accountable. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, definitely let me know in the comments. And I'll continue to do more videos like this to help you out, so that way you can manifest everything that you want this year in 2024. So again, my name is Brittney Clement, Law of Attraction and Manifestation Coach, and thanks for watching.